Have you ever wondered which insurance companies are actually the best? Well, we asked both homeowners and contractors, and the results are shocking. Today, we're breaking down the ultimate insurance tier list from two very different perspectives. Let's get into it. So let me give you the setup before we jump into this. What I did is I started by compiling a list of the most common insurance carriers, and I'm talking about the big ones here. Now, I know there are a ton of companies out there, but just for the sake of this experiment, I wanted to keep it with the most common and well-known carriers that we all hear about. And I made two different surveys for people to rank the companies on what we call a tier list. S meaning they are superior, they're better than all the rest, then A, B, C, D, and then finally F for complete failure. Then to make this fair, I sent the two different surveys out. One went to homeowners and another one went to roofers and contractors. And what I asked people to do was rank the companies based on any kind of experience they've had with them. For example, with homeowners, this could be firsthand experience or secondhand experience from friends, neighbors, family, etc., because people talk about these types of experiences. Both groups ranked the same insurance companies, but from totally different perspectives. All right, so the first company up on the list is Erie. Homeowners rated Erie as a C, whereas roofers rated Erie as an S. Quite a big discrepancy there. I actually tend to agree with roofers on this because any experience I've had with Erie here locally has been amazing. Moving on, we have Liberty Mutual, which had a solid, overwhelming B rating from homeowners, whereas roofers rated them as an A. Safeco was in between a B and a C. It was a straight tie among homeowners, whereas roofers rated them as a B. On this one, I tend to actually view them a little bit higher than that. In my opinion, I'd give them a B plus or A minus. But this is where it starts to get very interesting. With State Farm, homeowners rated them as a B, whereas roofers, it was a tie between D and F. With Allstate, very similar result. We had homeowners as B rating. With roofers, it was a tie between C and F, so we're going to call that a D. And I'm going to circle back to why I think there's such a huge discrepancy on these in a minute. Geico, right there at B, whereas roofers also rated them as a B. I tend to agree with that. Encompass Insurance, both roofers and homeowners rated them as a C, and I would also agree with that. USAA was a mixed bag when it came to homeowners. We had a three-way tie between B, C, and S, whereas roofers rated them as a solid A. In my opinion, I would definitely say USAA is an A. Farmers Insurance, another great carrier. Homeowners rated them as an A, deservingly, and roofers also were at A. Chubb, very interesting company, high-end insurance company. So they were rated by homeowners. It's the first one on the list to actually be in the S tier, whereas roofers also placed them as a tie, A and S. I 100% agree with this. I have never had any issue with Chubb, but this is also one of those things you are paying a lot more in premium with a company like this. So there's an expectation that claims are going to be handled to a higher degree. Another company that's very similar to Chubb is Pure. That's next on the list. This was one of the strangest results I've gotten out of this whole experiment. It was a tie between F and B. Now, the performance with Chubb and Pure are very similar. I know they're different companies, but they perform in the same exact way, in my opinion. Roofers gave them an A and S tie, just like Chubb. But my analysis of this says that the people that gave Pure a B rating have actually had to use them for a claim, and the people that rated them as F are just a little bit upset because they pay so much in their premiums. Travelers Insurance, we have them at a solid B among homeowners, and then with roofers, a solid A. I agree. Farm Bureau was a tie among homeowners, A and C, so we're going to give that one a B. But with roofers, it's the opposite end of the tier. We're F and C. It's a tie. So that will be a solid D on our tier list. And I tend to agree with the roofers here. Now, Farm Bureau is one of those really interesting companies. Each state has their own farm bureaus. You have Farm Bureau of Tennessee, Farm Bureau of Mississippi, wherever you are, and they all operate vastly differently from each other. Okay, so next up we have Grange Insurance, which is a higher level of insurance. It's a little bit more expensive in your premiums, but I was surprised by this result. Homeowners across the board rated them as an average of C. I totally expected there to be a higher rating, whereas roofers, of course, rated them as an A. I would always put Grange as an A. Literally never had any issues out of Grange whatsoever on our end. Auto Owners, which is one of the lesser known companies, but it's pretty prevalent in this area. They're a tie between a C and a D, whereas roofers also put them as a C. I think that's a little harsh too, just from my experience. I would put them as a B, maybe B minus. Pretty good, solid company. Nationwide, both homeowners and roofers put them as a B. I would agree with that. Great company. You're not going to go wrong with them. And then Progressive, we have, again, C with homeowners, C with roofers. Now, if I go back, Shelter Insurance had a very weird result. Homeowners across the board rated them as a B, which I would agree with. But roofers, it was a 5-way tie between A, B, C, D, and F. All right, but I want to circle back to State Farm and Allstate because those are the two most well-known companies here, and there's a huge discrepancy between the homeowner ratings and the roofer ratings. So again, just to refresh your memory, State Farm and Allstate were both rated by homeowners as B tier, whereas roofers put them as D and F. And I think there's not a single person who owns a home, at least in the United States, who hasn't heard of these two companies. They're by far the largest, and they by far have the biggest marketing budgets. And when I see a discrepancy like this, I have to think that this marketing is actually working. You know, State Farm is like a good neighbor, and Allstate, you're in good hands. They have really good, catchy phrases, but when the rubber meets the road, it seems like roofers and contractors are rating them not so favorably. So, you know, that's just my analysis of that. You can form your own opinion, but I do think their marketing budgets have definitely paid off on the homeowner side. So my advice is this: if you're a homeowner, talk to your contractor about their experience with different carriers. And if you're a roofer, you should be educating your customers on what they might not know. Comment below and share any experience you've had with these different carriers. We'd love to hear it.